All right, welcome everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 15th of November, 2023, and this is the Cluster API Community Project. Cluster API is a sub-project of Kubernetes SIGs, and as such, we follow their community guidelines, which basically means please treat everyone as you would expect to be treated, or explicitly so. Please be kind to each other, and please raise your hand if you'd like to talk, and I will call on you. I encourage everyone to add yourself to the attending list in our meeting notes if you can. That would be great. And at the beginning of our meetings, we like to give some time for people to say hi who haven't said hi to the community before. And I'm just trying to find my list of attendees here. Oh, there we go. Okay. So if you would like to say hi, please raise your hand and I will call on you. All right. MC Benjamin. I'm not sure how to say that, so please go ahead.
And you are muted.
I think you might be muted there. MC
Yes, sorry.
Oh, cool.
All right. Yeah, my name is Mohammed. I'm platform engineer. I work for Ionos Cloud, basically a cloud provider company in Germany. Yeah, I'm glad to join the Cluster API community.
Awesome. Welcome aboard, Mohammed.
Thank you.
All right. I'm not seeing any other hands going up, so we'll move on to our open proposal. Oh, now I see hands going up. Akshay, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Akshay, I'm coming from India. So I work for Infra Cloud. I work as a software developer there. And this is my first Cluster API meeting.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Akshay. Is there anyone else who would like to say hi? Okay, going in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we'll move on. And Mohammed and Akshay, please lower your hands when you get a chance. Thank you. Okay, so do we have any open proposal readouts? There's the flexible managed. Okay, so it says Jack's going to remove this the next office hours. So I guess there's nothing to say there.
Sorry, I can say something to that.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, go ahead.
That PR merged. So thanks to everybody for many months of back and forth reviewing. And so, yes, we can remove this from the open proposal. It's no longer open. It's closed.
All right, cool. Well, congratulations on the big merge then. All right, so I'll
take it. Thanks.
I will remove this. And yeah. All right, cool. So let's get into our regular agenda. And I know we got kind of a packed one today, so try to keep things moving. Fabrizio, you're up first with a bunch of KubeCon feedback. So please take it away.
I will try to keep it short. So at the Contributor Summit, we had a great discussion about the status update of the project. We have slides are linked. Main points is that community looks good, but there are signs of maintainer fatigue in the terms of which are basically proved by the number of issue and PR growing up. But yeah, I will follow up on this one. We had two time-boxed discussion, one about GitOps, and the TLDR is that yeah, we can improve copy for GitOps, but there are also a lot of knowledge that is spread up in between people already using GitOps, and the first thing that we have to do is to document it. Then we had a discussion about in-place upgrade. TLDR here is that it is the right time to start talking about this. And one of the first things that we have to do is also have a clear definition of the scope of what we want to do and not to do for the first iterations. And in this case, please join the working group that is starting its work soon. There was also a super nice talk for the SIG intro. Slider linked. They include the feedback from the recent survey among all the projects, and also some idea for the roadmap. So please take a look. And yeah, there was a bunch of talks about CAPI. One from me and Stefan about the work that we did for personal improvements, but also two nice talks from users, one from Spectre Cloud about their work on Minecraft support using SIG cluster Lifecycle. This one was as a huge attendance, and they even did the talk twice. And the one is from LY Corporation, which is basically a company running a social media app platform in Japan and in a couple of other countries with more than 100 million customers, totally backed with Cluster API. And this is an interesting use case. So yeah, finally, a lot of super interesting all-way discussion as usual. Thanks everyone for all the idea and the things. My very personal takeaway is everyone is using CAPI. And a bunch of companies are doubling down on CAPI, and it is great to see. But when we talk with some family of users, especially newcomers, user doing self-managed or user relying on CAPI for CI, there is still room for improving the user experience. So this is my takeaway. Yeah, we will figure it out if to do something in this area. And yeah, thank you everyone for being there and for the great discussion. If you are interested, want some more info, please reach out.
Thanks for the debrief, Fabrizio. And it sounds like there was a lot of cool stuff going on. Does anybody have questions or comments about KubeCon, or maybe specific questions for Fabrizio or any of the people who were there? Okay, I'm not seeing any hands going up, so we'll move on to the next one. Thanks again to everyone who went to KubeCon. Furkat, you've got a couple here about release stuff, so please take it away.
Hey, thanks. So yeah, the first one is about kind of PSA. So there's a call for upcoming V1.7 release team volunteers. So if you're interested, please reach out on Slack or comment on the post on Slack. There are already a bunch of folks who commented. They're interested. Thanks for your interest. And yeah, this is like another announcement, official announcement on the office hours. Probably I can go to the next one if there are no questions. Fabrizio, probably.
Just a comment based on probably on the point that we are going to talk later on. So if I may make a suggestion for the next release cycle, the release team, somehow we should think how to improve the CI signal group, so we make sure that yeah, we get a clean signal and test flakes taken care in time.
All right, Cecile, you've got your hand up, please.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to open this can of worms here and now, but I do have some thoughts about that. I think that asking the release team to also fix the CI is too much. It's too big of a scope. I think if we want to have a CI team that's separate, that would be fine. But I think the people who fix the test should be different from the people who monitor the test signal for release. Just based on this past release team, I don't know if anyone who was actually on the release team has any thoughts or feedback. But I just know from talking to Nawaz, so I'll speak on his behalf because I know he's out today, who was the CI signal lead. It was a bit too much of a load to investigate every test signal. I think that investigation should be shared by the community and figuring out flakes. And the release team should really be for triage and monitoring. So not actually getting to the root cause and fixes.
Thanks, Cecile. That's a great point. Jack, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, thanks. Speaking to Cecile's point, I wonder if it would make sense to plan for introducing something like a subject matter expert role into the project so that during triage, when various things are discovered, there is a sort of escalation path. I mean, right now, I think the default escalation path is maintainers of the project. That's what I would do if I were in that position and didn't have the expertise to actually troubleshoot. But that might be, I think, depending on the size of the project, that's appropriate. But if the project reaches a certain scope, then really is a different role, like maintaining the project versus being an expert at, insert subject matter vertical here, whatever you want to describe.
I think that's a great point, Jack. Like the project has grown large enough now that, yeah, it's like these concerns that used to be kind of commingled are complicated enough that it's like it might make sense to have these different, expand the subject matter expertise kind of roles. Does anybody else have thoughts or comments about that? Yeah, Fabrizio, please.
Yeah, I don't have a preference on the form that this takes. So it could be part of the current release CI signal. It could be a separate team. We can search for different type of expertise in the forks. But yeah, what is pretty, what we experienced is that this is a sort of blocker in the sense that when tests start failing, unfortunately, no matter if we did a lot of, we invested a lot in doing session, how to debug test together, etc., is that test stay red until some of the core maintainer jump on. Kilian did a huge work in the last 2 release cycle for this. But this is not fair that everyone relies on the shoulder of 1 or 2 people. And also for them is not sustainable. So I think that it is something that as a project we have to figure it out a way forward.
Yeah, I mean, good points, Fabrizio. And my personal feeling is this becomes really tough also because there's usually like a time associated pressure with these things. So like if we're trying to get a release out and CI is failing, then we need to get it fixed at that moment. And I think maybe that's what you were trying to hint at earlier, Fabrizio, was like if we had a better CI signal, maybe we could catch some of those failures a little sooner, and that would kind of ease the pressure on the time sensitive part of it. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough issue to solve, I think. Cecile, please.
Yeah, I want to highlight what Jack said in chat. I think we're on the same page with Fabrizio that we do need to invest more in our CI signal. And I think as a project, we need to do better there. I'm just very hesitant to put that burden on the release team because like Jack said, it makes the threshold very high for people joining the release team. And I found one of the great things about the release team is it's a low barrier to entry for newer contributors. And it's a good way for leveling up folks in the community to take on more ownership in the project. And so I wouldn't want that to be, you know, the requirement that you have to be an expert at everything and be able to fix all the CI issues to be able to be in the release team. I think Killian did an amazing job as CI signal lead, but I think we can't all be Killian, and I think we should, you know, set the bar at a, you know, in a way that it doesn't exclude too many people.
I mean, yeah, big +1 for me. And I think, you know, that's a very astute from you and Jack both. Like, yeah, we can't raise the bar so that it becomes only a few people can get in on this. I guess, like, you know, I hate to push for any sort of like follow-up or action item out of this, because it sounds like we need to discuss more, but maybe like improving the CI signal is kind of where we look to next to try and ease this pressure. I see Jack making some good comments in chat here too. You know, the absolute North Star would be 1, project maintainer role, 2, a test maintainer role per test, and then 3, a technical subject matter expert role. Not sure what the iterative path is and what the most practical next step could be to get us going that direction. Yeah, I think, and Cecile,
I can own that. I can create an issue and try to express
awesome.
what we've talked about here in a concise way.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jack. That'd be perfect. I will record it in the agenda and it becomes official at that point. All right.
Despite all the friction, I think it's worth another call out to the release team for improving the quality of the release, because without the release team, this stuff goes into the release. So great job.
Yeah, I mean, +1. If there's no other questions on this topic, I'll give it back to Furkat for the next item.
Yeah, thank you. That's also related to release team. So recently we had a discussion on Slack, rather if we have to re-evaluate the maintainer role in the release team for upcoming releases. That's because lots of the maintainer roles or responsibilities are moved to GitHub Actions. Let's say when we push the PR to publish the release notes, so GitHub Actions automatically push the tag, and so there's no kind of need for maintainer except clicking the publish button when the draft release is up. So I just wanted to bring this up and know everyone's opinion. How do they feel if we have to keep this maintainer role going forward, or do we have to extend something, or any ideas?
Cecile, please.
I'm personally +1 on removing the role. I think that in practice, we didn't end up using it in the last release. If we look at what actually happened, and I think, you know, I mean, probably Furkat, you can speak to that, and you were there, but I think that we ended up just having whoever was available that day click publish, and not necessarily the person who was assigned maintainer all the time. And I think that probably works well enough. I think everything has been moved to automation at this point, so there isn't really a real need for the role anymore.
Yeah, if I can jump quickly, that was the case actually. We were tagging, I was tagging all of you, and who was available that could cut the release. I personally +1 on removing the role, but yeah, I'd like to hear others' opinion as well.
So I guess, like, following in the wake of the previous topic, do we want to start an issue about removing this, or maybe a PR to remove it or something, and then we could gather kind of support or opposition to it there? Yeah, Fabrizio, please.
Personally, I don't have a strong opinion. It can stay there, it can go away. What I would like to see in the next release is that we kind of stabilize our release machinery, our release process, and we try to stick at them for some time. Because it is fine to try to continue improve, but we should also recognize that the volume of PR and noise for this was kind of relevant. We already have maintainer fatigue to deal with, and so it's a kind of, let me say, strike a balance. I don't know. It seems to me that perfect is an enemy of done sometimes, and so yeah, let's also consider this point of view, because currently we don't have a clear, for instance, every change that we made to the release tool, they eat the maintainers. Every change that we make to these guidelines, they eat the maintainers. So yeah, that's it. Let's also consider this point. Maybe if the roles stay there, I don't see harm.
I guess, Cecile, did that kind of answer your question from chat? Yeah, Furkai, go ahead.
Probably we could expand the responsibilities of, like, let's say if we have some blocking PRs that needs review, that person, the role can stay, and the release lead or like release team members can reach out to that person to go ahead with PRs or issues if they want someone, or like attention of the maintainer, let's say. But all you said also makes sense, that there were PRs from the release team specifically that touches different parts specific to release, and yeah, it creates a burden on the maintainers, of course.
Cecile, please.
I think if the maintainer role has to be a person who's already in the owner's file as an approver, because they have to have right permissions, that was kind of the idea from the start, then we're essentially just singling out one single person out of the maintainers for each release cycle. And I think that's fine if it's an escalation. So like, if we can't get to someone, this is the person that's in the end ultimately responsible. But I think in general, it just makes I think, in my opinion, it does the opposite of what Fabrizio is saying with maintainer fatigue, right? Because then it's, instead of doing load balancing across several people and going to different people throughout the release cycle, it's essentially like everything is going to one single person. And if that person happens to not be available at some day because they're away or they're sick or something else is going on, then we're essentially having no one. So I think having it split across several people, which we already have, that's the approvers list, that we have a list of maintainers, makes more sense to me than having a single maintainer person.
All right. I do see a comment from Lubomir in chat about getting the token and operate GitHub Actions from a host terminal. You don't need to be in any owners or GitHub group. So I guess you can manually run some of these things even outside of the owner, if you're not in like the owner's files, if you have a token. Does anybody else have thoughts or comments about this topic? This seems like another, Furkat, you're bringing up some good topics here. They're not easy to solve though. Okay, I'm not seeing any other hands going up, so I guess we'll have to continue this discussion in GitHub. So Furkat,
I'll follow up on that. I'll create the issue and then follow up on that, the
awesome.
GitHub issue. Thanks, folks, for the thoughts.
Yeah, thank you. And you've got the next topic, so please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, that's the last one. So I just wanted to give a brief update on the current release state. So there was a blocking test flakes recently, and we had to postpone and tentatively move the RC release and code freeze for a week. And yeah, there's a fixed PR. Hopefully that should fix the flakes. I just wanted to make sure that everyone is aware. We sent already through the mailing list about the code freeze movement for a week. Also wanted to bring up here, and if possible, please take a look at the fixed PR and help merging it so that we could have cleaner CI signal for the next week before the RC is cut. At least we are planning to cut, but yeah, that's mostly it. Thank you.
So Jonathan, I think you would raise your hand and drop. Okay, Jonathan's got his hand up now. Please, Jonathan.
Yeah, I was just gonna say this is my PR, so I can sort of speak on its behalf. This I would fix the self-hosted issue because before we were not draining the nodes or before deleting. And so by adding machine pool machines to rework how Docker machine pools work, whenever we want to scale down or roll out an upgrade, we would make sure that we have enough replicas ready and we would drain the node. And this PR, I've been working on it for a while. I've been pushing changes. So that's why there might be some test history, but it has been in all the failures and the successes, it hasn't tripped up the self-hosted test. And right now I've gotten reviews from Fabrizio and Cecile with the LGTM. And so I'm planning on spending the rest of this day to keep running the full EDE main test just to double check. And I'm hoping to have this in by the end of the day because I will be catching a flight tomorrow. So if anybody, especially in Europe, could review this before signing off, I'll do my best to get back to you and get this merged tonight. That's it for me. I think Cecile, if you had any follow-up comments, I know you raised your hand earlier.
Oh, no, thanks. I was just going to give an update on the PR, but you already did, so thank you. I think I'm almost ready to approve it, just waiting for the last signal. I think Fabrizio and I both LGTM, so we're pretty much hoping, should merge in the last few hours. In the next few hours, sorry. Hopefully.
It looks like we just need new LGTMs there, unless Jonathan was going to add another commit to this. I didn't quite.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't plan on really adding anything. I was just announcing that, if you have if anybody would like to leave any comments, this is probably last call, just because the release is blocked on this PR, and I don't want to, hold this up for too long.
Gotcha. And thanks for all your attention on this too. That's cool.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, great. Well, hopefully we'll get the reviews in by the end of your day today, and then you'll be off somewhere hopefully exciting.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Was there any other questions or comments about the 1.6 release date? Yeah, Fabrizio, please.
Is the self-hosted flakiness the only one flakiness that we have? Because I quickly checked and I passed also the link in chat. There are a couple of other flake issue. I don't know if they are still or old. I remember also Stefan, which is not here today, talking about some flakiness in a cluster cutoff upgrade test. So I want to make sure that we are fully green. Maybe is there someone from the CI team that can answer to the question?
Yeah, Mohammed, please.
Yes, I can give you a little bit of update here. I'm in the CI release team. So in these flakes, the one flake that is still happens a lot is the dual stack. But that flake is happening since the dual stack is merged. I think we have discussed with Killian, and he said like we have to fix it, but this is not release blocking. Other flakes we have already fixed, I think going on right now for the self-hosted one. I will check the clusters CTL upgrade that Fabrizio mentioned again, but others are, I think they are fixed, but I will check again, because the only in the test grid, not the test grid, sorry, the aggregator I checked, the only flake that I'm seeing a lot is the dual stack one, and which start happening since the dual stack was merged. But I will check again and update these issues. Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Mohammed. I guess is there anything before we move on to the next topic then? Okay, I'm not seeing any hands. Fabrizio, you've got the next topic.
Yeah, I just want to point out to this issue, this PR that someone from the community opened. Basically, this PR contains a documentation for a procedure to rotate CA authorities certificates on the cluster, which is the first try that I've seen on this process. Is a bit manual, but I think that is a good starting point. It will be great if other folks can take a look at the procedure and maybe test it. And a huge thanks and kudos to the author of this PR that reported this back in the Slack channel first, and then took the time to write the PR itself.
Yeah, this is like the great open source participation story. I love it. Okay, so yeah, I guess if anybody would be a great place to get some reviews going there. Thanks, Fabrizio. Jack, you've got the next topic, please.
Yeah, thanks. So real quick, we wanted to just do a sanity check on best practice here. So we are in CapZ, so I'm speaking to CapZ to set the context. We're doing some housekeeping on our controller dependencies, and as part of that, we are going to be upgrading controller runtime to 16 from 15. And Cecile made the observation that the version of CAPI that we're using to test this against and our upcoming release of CapZ is using 15. So CAPI 1.6 will ship with 16 of controller runtime. I just wanted to sort of pose this to the community. Is it strictly verboten to have a divergent version of controller runtime from the version of CAPI that you support release for? Or is this sort of an implementation detail that tests can provide the truth for? Go ahead, Fabrizio, thanks.
So as far as, unfortunately, Stefan is not here. As far as I remember, the issue is that if you want to use a different version of controller runtime in your project, then you might end up in some conflicting difference, because both CAPI will basically have as indirect dependency in Kubernetes and everything client Go and your project. And so basically both bring, you will have this huge dependency tree kind of fighting, and the risk to have problem and conflict is high. And this is why we always try to keep, to move CAPI together with Kubernetes and provider together with CAPI, because in the past this was the less troublesome way to do this. But there are no, if you want to try it and by luck it works, no objection from my side.
Yeah, great. Thanks for adding that background. I've seen the same thing in many projects. A couple things worth remarking about this in particular. We're not So we are doing some dependency compilation linking of CapZ and CapE when it comes to certain reused interfaces and things. And so that is working. So we don't have any compile time errors. That's the sort of lowest hanging fruit that you would observe when you're trying to do these and they're not going to work. So the compilation is fine. And then sort of on the functional behavioral side of things, as you're describing, Fabrizio, when they're both hitting Kubernetes in their own domains of responsibility, like you've got the CapE pod running and the CapE controller pod running and other stuff, and the CapZ controller, in our case, in CapZ's case, running. We don't see any failures in those scenarios that we're testing with our end-to-end tests. So we feel like the test signal and compilation is fine. So sounds like we're going to go ahead and proceed. But I wonder if it would be worth in the future adding some clarification to folks so that they could make their own decisions without having to come to office hours and talk about it in real time. Because there probably is a way to sort of summarize the risk that you have to accept. And I feel like the set of tests that we run in CapZ addresses that risk. And so I feel confident that we can ship this.
Yeah, I don't think that there is a risk if CapZ run one version of controller runtime and CapE another. They are two separate binary running. So I think that the only issue is in compiling CapZ and having problem in debug array, stuff like that. But maybe let's open a thread with Stefan, Vince, who are also controller runtime maintainers. And so we can prepare the statement that you are asking for, basically.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing for the long term. So I'll do that. Cool. Yeah. And to clarify, there's no compilation errors. So that's cool. Okay. Thanks, Mike. Back to you.
All right, cool. Yeah, good discussion there. And it's one of those interesting ones. Like, will it work? Will it not work? Who knows? All right. Last topic on the regular agenda is from Sujay. So please, Sujay, take it away. Are you here, Sujay? I see you in chat. Sujay, is there anything more to say here, or should we just, follow what you're saying? Okay, Sujay says they can't unmute. So I guess like this is an issue that look at here. Okay, so nothing more than just what's in the list here. So replace hard-coded kind names with constants. Okay, so I guess just looking for more reviews here, perhaps on this PR. So if anyone is doing Azure maintenance, please take a look. It looks like there's an LGTM, so maybe just need approval, and we'll see how it goes from there. Thanks for the PR and the contribution, Sujay. All right, are there any questions about that last one before we move on? Okay, I'm not seeing any hands. So we'll go to the provider updates. Mike, you got a cluster API operator update. Please take it away.
Yeah. So today we released a new version of cluster API operator 0.7. It contains a lot of features, fixes. So we added health check controller there. There are a lot of API updates that allow you to improve your workflow. So please take a look. And yeah, so that's probably all I wanted to say about updates. I also wanted to ask a couple of questions. The first one is about community meetings. We want to have one for cluster API operator. And what is the process of creating a meeting? If you can provide some information, maybe some documents like that.
Well, I guess there's a question here. Are we talking about like a community meeting, I guess, for the cluster API operator project?
Yeah, similar to this one. So maybe we want to do it once a month or maybe bi-weekly. We haven't decided yet, but just create a Zoom call for that. Create a calendar item.
I did notice this when I was looking around before,
Mhm.
that in one of these there is a sub project, and
Mhm.
they list where you can find meeting information about the various sub projects. And I noticed we have cluster API sub projects in here as well. So maybe, and it looks like we have cluster API operator in here. Maybe you just want to update this to add information about when the meeting is. And then
Mhm.
like, I don't think we have any guidance about this, but historically, we've been reusing the Zoom channel for that we host this meeting on. But we're going to start to run into clashes where like, can we use the Zoom meeting at those times and whatnot? But I guess as long as we pick something good, it shouldn't be an issue. And I see in chat, Fabrizio is asking, shouldn't this be a thing for the SIG leads, even if there is overlap? Yeah, I don't
we
know. Like
asked this
Fabrizio,
question
Ramir, do you have any
yesterday.
advice you wanna jump in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, the cluster API operator folks joined yesterday. The SIG call, unfortunately, it was only me who was there with two of them. And I basically said that maybe it's a good idea to talk to the cluster API folks who already have a established process, rules, frequency, community, like a sub-community for cluster API guidelines that are applicable to cluster API sub-project Zoom calls. So I delegate the responsibility to the copy/leads who we already have. I mean, if nobody really wants to do this, I can take ownership of creating the Zoom call.
Okay. So, I mean, so Mike, it sounds like, we can probably just, if the CAPI operator team wants to pick a good time for their meeting and wants to update that community doc that's there, it sounds like that might be the most official thing that we do, and then announce it obviously in our meetings and Slack channel and the mailing list. Fabrizio,
Okay,
did you
good.
raise your hand again, or?
No, I did not have a chance to speak before, but
sorry.
So, no, not a problem. So we, as a copy, let me say, we don't have guidance for meeting for the sub-project. Basically, every sub-project is free to decide if they have a meeting, decide the frequency, and the guidance are the same that applies to all the Kubernetes from CNCF, basically. So be kind, keep an agenda, and then publish a recording in the C cluster Lifecycle mailing list. So no special guideline from the copy. Honestly, it is a long time that I do not create meetings and stuff like that. I don't remember the procedure, but probably Lubomir should have this noted in a document if I'm not wrong, so we can look it up.
Yeah, we do have a document. It's shared with all the leads. It's like very descriptive. It always boils down to who wants to do the work.
Okay. Yeah. Let's think offline. We'll take care of this. But yeah, it is on the SIG list.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great question and a timely question from Mike, because I was just going through this trying to set things up for the Carpenter feature group, and there wasn't really a good place to create a meeting time for that. I ended up having to just make my own Google Calendar item and then kind of invite people in an ad hoc manner by having them give me their email addresses. I don't think that's necessarily sustainable, even though I realize that's just kind of where we're at the moment. My hope is honestly that maybe like these this community page would be a good place to host some of this, but these seem like official sub projects, not necessarily like feature groups and whatnot. Although in the case of the CAPI operator, that's an official sub project. So I would expect this would be a great place to advertise that meeting. Yeah, Lubomir, please.
So for future groups, I think maybe just it could be personal Zoom accounts that host such a meeting. I think unfortunately most of those meetings are bound to 40 minutes limit. If another alternative is for the CAPI project to donate the CAPI room for CAPI feature meetings, which is a possibility. But they also have to grant the host key, which is unique for the whole sequence lifecycle. So if somebody happens to leak this key, we have to update 24-ish sub-projects with this leaked secret to be a new one. So it's up to debate what is best. In terms of new meetings, it's probably better if you ask me to just use a personal account, because it's so difficult for us to give YouTube permissions, then Zoom permissions, and everything. It just it's not sustainable. That's my personal opinion. We can discuss it offline, but it just I think we reached a point where it just it's not so easy for us to maintain this whole thing. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the advice here. Okay, I guess Mike, does that help you out? Does that give you some direction?
Yeah, definitely. I have another question about KubeCon in Paris, because we want to propose a talk about cluster API operator there. Last time we did it too late. Yeah, so if it's possible, then we've already created an abstract. So what do you think about doing this talk?
So let me just to clarify, you're talking about proposing this talk as like one of the maintainer track talks
from the SIG.
From the SIG, yeah. So does anybody have thoughts about that for SIG cluster lifecycle? I guess, like we got Lubomir and Fabrizio here. Yeah, Fabrizio, please.
So disclaimer, every KubeCon, the process for submitting maintainer track talks change a little bit. This for KubeCon France, the process has not been yet published. So basically what I'm saying is based on what was the set of rule for Chicago. Maybe they change. So for Chicago, the set of rule for maintainer track was the following. So the talk must be submitted by a SIG lead or tech lead. So prepare your talk, get in contact with some lead that will do the submission for you. And then there is no guarantee of getting a spot, but there is a well-defined priority rule. So basically, top priority are the CNCF technical committee, steering committee, etc. Then there are incubating project, then there are Kubernetes 6, and last there are sub-projects. So we are the last in the priority list, which is not ideal. That means that every sub-project can submit, but there is chance that not everyone is
It will be accepted, basically.
Yeah, it will be selected. I don't know if as a SIG lead we want to make a selection prior to submit, etc. The issue honestly never was a case, because we only had 1 or 2 talks for 20 and more projects in the past. But yeah, let me say, we will deal. I think that the first thing is reach out to leader, and you are already doing it. Tell that you want to submit, and so we know and then when the moment comes, we will figure it out.
Yeah, understand. Yeah, so last time it was submitted by Vince. So we can ask him. Okay.
Yeah, and it sounds like just keep making noise about it as we get further and further along here. And so when the guidelines come out, we know your talk is right up there. Okay, Lubomir, you've got your hand up, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something quickly, because we had a Slack discussion with Vincent Fabrizio and Cecile about this tree. So basically, we kind of decided that some projects, if they want to participate in this spot for having a talk at KubeCon, they should submit their request to the mailing list, formally saying, hey, for example, we want to have a talk for the cluster API operator at KubeCon 2024. So after that, SIG lead will take your submission request, and we are going to send it to the CNCF. Minikube already requested today that they want the spot, so we don't know how the CNCF is going to decide, like Fabrizio is saying, but we are going to ensure that we send your request to them. So that's all.
And is that the Devel mailing list or like cluster?
No, the SIG cluster lifecycle mailing list. Please send everything there, the requests.
Okay, yeah, will be done.
All right, cool. Thanks, Mike. Any other questions or comments about that topic? All righty. Well, we're almost at the end of the agenda here. The last thing, I'll just give a PSA that we're going to have the first meeting of not the first meeting, but the first regular meeting of the Carpenter feature group is going to start in about 5 minutes in this Zoom channel. So yeah, just if you're interested in Carpenter stuff, I guess hang around. And with that, if there's no other last minute topics that people would like to raise, we'll close the meeting up. So going in 3, 2, 1. All right. Thanks everybody for coming out, and we'll see you next time.